My making started when I used to work at the archives. I made things before that, but it was when I was thinking about ways that I could connect people with that history. The making came naturally out of that. I was surrounded by archivists that had access to stories that you thought, these stories need to be told. The documents were there, but they're quite dry and not particularly interesting until you piece things together, and most people don't have the time or the inclination to go and do that. It was something that became an obsession, really. I did an apprenticeship and worked in public art and did a lot of work in cast bronze, then turned to the paper mache. It tends to be thought of as something that you use with children in schools. I wanted to experiment with it as a material and see where you could take it. You can put things into that cellulose mix which will change the textures of it. I like the fact that it's a kind of additive process, so you can start and just keep building. What happens is I work on it until I see what I'm looking for. Sometimes you're hoping that'll work and it doesn't, and other times it comes earlier than you thought it would. I have an emotional connection with the person that I'm making. It's not a portrait I'm trying to do, it's the spirit of that person and the kind of emotion that they give to me. We're in Cumbria, in a place that's called the Eden Valley. It's between the North Pennines and the Lake District National Park. But it's a sort of relatively unknown, less glamorous neighbour. It's basically the catchment of the River Eden. A lot of farming history, but there's an industrial history of mining. It's quite bleak and remote, actually. The landscape around is full of these stories because people and landscape interact, and unless we understand the culture and the facts and the legends and the myths and the things that we can't see in the landscape around us, then it becomes more like a body without a soul. The people and the energy that have been there are what makes it magical and worth looking after. I just quite like the idea of being really curious about what's on your doorstep. Within 10 miles walking distance of here, there's so much stuff that is buried. I've been doing it for quite a long time now, making characters. The next project is about looking specifically at mining and a mining story. The London Lead Company focused on this area as a headquarters for some of its mining activities. It became an economically viable thing to mine barytes, which was a byproduct of lead mining. It's basically a very heavy material, quite inert, which is really good in paint. So I'm experimenting with textures of the paper mache, and I've found that the barytes powder adds a very fine, smoother finish than just pure paper mache. I love the idea of making these figures out of the minerals, which is their story. It's good to now feel that it's much more about and of the landscape.